Hi, this is C. Megan Michael coming to you from Breaking Free from Toxic People and Breaking Free from Narcissistic Abuse. 10 signs that you may have unhealthy boundaries. Um, First, I want to tell you that boundaries I think there's a reflection, are an issue for me still. I've been in no contact for a year and 7 months from everyone except my narcissistic mother, whom I'm extremely low contact with. But I've actually set some very healthy boundaries with her. By no means perfect, trust me. But I'm getting better all the time. Anyway, I want to give a big shout out today to Dana from Narcissist Support. Awesome channel Wednesday nights. She has a live question and answer chat on YouTube. Highly recommend that you catch that. I'm usually there. Um, Also, a shout out to Teal Swan, whose video on boundaries versus oneness. I was able to gather a lot of information about today to make this list for you. So let's just go right into it. All right, I have notes. Okay, so that's why I'm looking over here. So number one, saying yes when you mean no, or no when you mean yes. I can't tell you how many times I have done this throughout the course of my life, but especially after I after the 8 years of trauma with my last extremely abusive ex. And I was so, I left. I went with no contact with her, and moved away and all that. But I was still in the pattern of people pleasing. And I didn't know any. I had no friends. I had no family. I had no one. I moved to a place I'd never been before. With basically a 1 month disability check to start out my new life, and almost no stuff, and that's all fine. But I know I want to digress for a moment. I know I've heard a lot of people talking about, and this is on our secret page, the Toxic Unicorn, and also Twitter and different social media. Um, a lot of people tend to be in maybe a divorce battle situation with their ex abuser. Um, it's usually an ex husband. I'm not really sure gay marriage has been around long enough to have that many legal battles with ex wives. I don't know. I don't know. I'm no expert. I had 2 domestic partnerships with ex wives, and I probably wish there was some kind of law back then. But you know what? It probably would have been used against me because I was so naive. Now I don't trust anybody. There's got to be a happy medium, and I'm sure I'm going to find it. But so anyway, I wanted to just say that stuff is not as important as your peace of mind. Honestly, it's really not. Everything that I had that I thought meant something to me turns out it's not what I really needed when I really needed something. Things that I really needed, like dental floss, toothpaste, a toothbrush, deodorant, clothing, a towel, a blanket, a pillow. These were things that oh my gosh, I'm so grateful every day when I wake up and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I've got a pillow. I've got dental floss. Yes, I do. I've got lip gloss. Do you know what it's like not to have lip gloss when your lips are chapped and you really need something? So my point is, listen, I pray to God no one is ever in the financial situation that I was in. It was very, very dire. But honestly, if I knew then what I know now, I would have gotten out and gone into a shelter without my dog because I lost her anyway. She was stolen from me. I didn't want it, though. That was the only reason I didn't want to go into a shelter because I couldn't take my dog. I didn't know what was going to happen. Oh, you know what, though? With my babies now, I would do the same thing. But I'll never let anybody else get that close again to do that. So I'm sorry that the thing is moving. I'm sitting at a table in our new apartment, And the table shakes. But okay, right, back on topic. So um, saying yes when you mean no and no when you mean yes, I did that a lot, and I noticed it a lot after I left that relationship because because I didn't have any emotional ties to these people. So like new neighbors and people that I was, hoping to become friendly with. Um, Honestly, not because I felt so sane that I wanted to become friends, but because I needed other human beings. I needed help, and I'm not really good at asking for help. But when you really need help, you need help, man. So ask. Anyway, um, it's a hard topic for me to talk about, isn't it? Harder than some. Yeah. So I said yes a lot of times. I mean, a lot of times. The first 6 months, oh, like, come over, Karen, come over, see. I'm like, okay, and then I get off the phone. I'm like annoyed. I'm angry at the person that violated my boundaries. The only thing is that I didn't set any boundaries. How can you cross my boundaries if I didn't tell you what they were? Now, if I tell you what they are, because I mean, listen, I met many narcissists and toxic people in my new life, and like as soon as I realize what they are, they're gone. But in the meantime, one of them was a 6 month friendship, and my gosh, this woman. And see now my other friend. It's a long story. Not even going to go there. That's just like small minded gossip. But anyway, she has new supply. Let's just put it that way. And and unfortunately, I hear stories about the narcissist and the craziness, and all I can think of is, thank God that's not me anymore. But oh my God, I'd be like doing something important in my own life in my own apartment, and this person would call up and say, "Oh, I need you to come over and braid my hair," and I would go, and it's just craziness. Okay, so anyway, yes when you mean no. Number two is feeling guilty when you do say no. And honestly, if you're dealing with a toxic person, they'll make you feel guilty. They will guilt you into saying yes. And if you do say no, a lot of times you wind up like backpedaling and saying, well, but we could do it tomorrow or whatever. Or the more that I learn to be true to myself, I just look to make sure we're actually recording. And I feel it in here. I want you to know that is what I believe is key. Boundaries are feelings, but I don't think they're just any feelings because they're not reactive. They're not reactive feelings. They're genuine. It's my gut feeling. Like, for example, I'll say to myself, do I like this pen? And I do. I like the way it writes. It's smooth. It's nice on the white paper, and that works for me. And that pen makes me happy. The water behind me, I love my purified. Actually, I really love spring water. That's actually purified water because it's only $1.50 to fill up that big 5-gallon jug at one of the supermarkets nearby. So, have to work within budget. But anyway, so my point being, I like these things. If I don't like something, like if someone you could probably see it at the end of this video or in a separate video, depending on if I edit it in or not. But my cat Trixie, as I was starting this video the first time, she just totally walked right in front of me and then mooned mooned the camera. I didn't like that. Yeah, that was crossing my boundaries. My cat's a narcissist. Shh, don't tell anyone. All right. Acting against your integrity or values to please others. I've done that too. Have you? I mean, I know that. Listen, you know what? A friend of mine, someone I do consider a friend, I was letting her smoke cigars in my other apartment. She didn't even smoke cigars in her own apartment. And I quit smoking back in last June or something. Why the hell would I want somebody smoking in my freaking lungs and polluting the lungs of my furry children, my hair, my clothes, my every reason that I quit smoking, and I'm letting somebody else do it in my apartment. And that is no disrespect to her now, because she knows now in my new apartment that I don't allow smoking and we go out on the balcony so she can. But I was totally, I didn't set those boundaries. She said, "Do you mind?" And I looked at her and I said, "No." I totally minded. Oh my gosh, did I mind? Did I mind? So, you ever done anything like that? Let's see. Number 4, not speaking up when you have something to say. Kind of like, please don't smoke that cigar in my apartment. Yeah, something like that. And that's only one example, but it was on the tip of my tongue. Number 5, adopting another person's beliefs or ideas so that you are accepted. Oh gosh, this takes me all the way back into my teenage years, and oh my gosh. I mean, and I did have some boundaries set as a teenager, not that many, honestly, not that many. IV drugs, didn't want that anywhere near me. I never did that. Um, but there were definitely, I mean, oh my gosh, I wanted to be accepted. See, this is what I'm understanding. I'm coming to understand that, excuse me, I need a drink. Cheers, iced tea with filtered water. I'm coming to understand that this all stems from childhood, of course, but, narcissistic, in my case, my narcissistic mother, and when we don't get the validation that we need, that we want, that we are not accepted at all. My mother would get angry. I mean, you couldn't disagree with my mom. I couldn't have an opinion that differed from hers, or I was rejected, neglected, rejected. Um, so we we're just children, and we really want our parents' acceptance and love. So we learn to suppress our gut instinct, which is exactly what we need to, you know, tap into now, saying, do I like this pen? And how do I feel about it? And how do I feel about this bright sunny day? And um, yes, and gut feel, no, I firmly believe that our gut feeling is also us tapping into our higher self. So, and our higher self doesn't lie. Our higher self will never lie to us. My gut feeling has never lied to me. My eyes have deceived me. My ears have deceived me. My mind, oh, forget about it. You know, you gaslight yourself when you what's it called, cognitive dissonance, and I don't know. I'm not even going to go to the psychological terms right now, because the reality is, if you're listening to me right now, you know what I'm talking about. We make ourselves. Listen, I believed in my. I used to say, I have, if I have a lifetime supply of rose-colored glasses, and if I break one, I've got another, and I just put them on. And that was exactly how I lived my life, not to see what I didn't want to see, which was that my ex hated me and I was prey. I mean, so anyway, but my higher self, my gut would tell me. It would tell me, it would be upset. I would want, like, I was on psych meds for most of my adult life. And I would need a Xanax or something like that. Or I would want something other than feeling the way that I genuinely feel. And I think that's because the way that I genuinely feel was not in alignment with what I was doing. I do believe that, by the way, that is pretty much the uh, what cognitive dissonance is, to my understanding. All right, let's see where we are on our list of 10 signs that you might have unhealthy boundaries. Um, not calling someone out who has mistreated you. How many times have you done that one? Ugh, forget about it. between my mother and my exes, whatever, because you don't want, especially narcissistic rage, you don't want that narcissistic rage, you know, they're, it's so intense and usually, excuse me, usually we're sensitive, empathic. Hold that thought. Oh, by the way, you should see she's sleeping right now. But Megan, my ESA dog, I caught her the other day. She drinks right out of this faucet. Right out of this tap. She does. She knows just where the water is. Such a smart girl. She lets little paws the pup drink out of the water bowl on the floor. She gets the nice cold water. Okay. Accepting physical touch or sex when you don't want it. I'm going to have to create a whole video about that. We know what that is. I've got to do a whole video. Otherwise, this one will be very long. But I've so done that. That goes back to my video where my mother raised me to be a whore. Basically, and at the time I didn't understand, but now I believe she raised me with absolutely no boundaries. And so now when I think back to that video, my mother raised me to be a whore, and I'll put a link to it. And you can click on there to take a look at that after. When she wanted me to satisfy my boyfriend and told me that he was in so much pain, I was 12 years old, and I'm saying, why is Bill in so much pain, Mom? Or whatever his name was. And she's telling me that he has blue balls, and that I should take care of that. I think she wanted to take care of that in her own way, because I guess that's what she would have done. That's the way I'm thinking it now. Because if we're extensions of themselves and they don't see us as sovereign individuals, then what was she saying? She was saying that's what she would do. I believe it is. Anyway, it's so distasteful. Drink. All right. Allowing yourself to be interrupted or distracted. Totally. People would interrupt me and I'd be like, it's okay. It's all right. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say. Go ahead. Whatever. Number 9, giving too much just to be perceived as useful. Now, listen, there was a time at my other apartment, one of my neighbors, such a totally toxic woman. Oh my gosh. But literally, she said to me, oh, I love that shirt you're wearing. I want that shirt. I love that shirt. It was on my body, and I went home and I took it off and I gave it to her the very next morning. Now, just so you know, a few months later, like probably the most toxic woman in the whole complex, all right, who's totally has, factitious disorder, whatever. I won't even diagnose her. She's always sick. There's always some major malady, something horrible, and you can't even discuss anything with her because she's got it much worse. This is the weirdest thing. When I met this woman, I don't even know what her name was. No. When I met her, she shows me an x-ray. She goes, this is literally, my dog met her dog, and that's how we started talking when I had just moved in there. And she goes, look at this. And this is her x-ray. She's showing me an x-ray of her spine. See these metal things and blah, blah, blah. And she's explaining to me, that's a really strange, that triggered me immediately. And I'm like, felt like red flags went off everywhere. I'm like, oh, my mother. I totally see my mother in this woman. And I ran the heck away from her. So I never became friendly with her. She was just a neighbor. And I don't think she cared for me much because she wasn't able to manipulate me. Other people managed to do that because I allowed it, but that one I, shut down right away. Well, months later, she was hanging out with another neighbor sitting in front of their house, and I walked up with a pretty shirt on, and she goes, oh, I love that shirt. And I said, thank you. She goes, no, really. I mean, I love that shirt. I want that shirt. And I looked at her, and I knew she meant it, and like I took off the shirt for that other woman, and I gave it to her the next. Wasn't happening this time. Oh, gosh, I kicked myself. I was so angry at myself for doing that. It bothered me for a long time until I just forgave myself. and said, I won't do it again. And I have never done it again. And this woman even says to me, she goes, look, see, look, I had my breast removed and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, I hope you're feeling better. And then I just went about my business. Gray rock. Don't tell him anything interesting, no matter what. And, oh gosh, some people, goodness gracious. And it's interesting because I think I meet a lot of them because I'm supposed to. It's, it's God and the universe, and but I really feel, and every time I have another milestone, I conquer. I don't know if I conquered anything. Well, yeah, I conquer like a. What am I trying to say? A boundary issue. Oh my gosh, it's what it is. It's a friggin' boundary issue. And we're talking about boundaries. See, I was so out of touch with boundaries. Yeah. So I have a boundary, baby. My shirt stays on my body. I like my shirt on. Thank you. Go get your own. I've given away tons of clothes to people, but I was given a lot of clothing by that narcissist from the beginning that I told you about, the one that would say, oh, come braid my hair, while I'm like going to the restroom or something important. And I go running there because I felt obligated. They do that to you, by the way. They'll give you a bunch of stuff. And I believe they do it for the same reason. They give you a bunch of stuff just to be perceived as useful, or at least that's the reason I probably did it. But they want to obligate you. That was never my reasoning. Mine was like, oh, I'm not good enough, and here, I'll give you anything I can to show you that I'm grateful for what you gave me, or whatever, or your friendship, or a ride, or whatever it is, and but they will give you money, lend you money, give you stuff, do things for you, sometimes really over the top stuff. Listen, my ex was not my girlfriend. She was a bad first date. Who, because I ran into her at the store. I'm pretty sure I told you this at another point, but I ran into her at the store, whatever, and we talked, and so we became acquaintances. And then I told her my situation, which at that point my mother was throwing me out, and I was at the lowest at that point, which got much worse later. But at that point, that was the worst point in my life at that moment in time, and that was when my first wife, broke my heart and totally discarded me after 8 years. And and then my mom, let me move in, and then she goes, I'd lost everything. I lost my job, I lost my car, I lost my apartment that I had at the time. And then my mom says, oh, well, you can't stay here anymore. So I had no place to go. And this woman says, I have a second bedroom. It's empty. You come stay with me. And I said, listen, I'm not really sure what's going on. Social Security is, I worked for 7 years. And even though I was telling them I was working, this is a big thing, by the way, peeps. When you're somebody that you want to get your life together and you want to be a functioning, individual, and you don't want to depend on Social Security, and you're trying, but you're working it out. It's really friggin' hard. It's really hard. Anyway, I didn't mean to go there. Okay. So she tells me I can move into her room in the second bedroom, and that's how I met. For 8 years, this woman told me every single day, every moment that she could, well, I let you move in here. Whatever she wanted, whatever she was demanding, whatever it was, she was reminding me that I could have been on the street or something horrible, but she took me in with my 4 cats. She had to make sure, by the way, I didn't wind up, she made sure I got rid of 2 of those cats, like right away, but we moved in with 2 cats. I did move in with 4 cats. So, does that give her the right to abuse me? No. And, okay, so number 10, becoming overly involved in someone else's problems. I've done it. You've probably done it too. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye for now. And I just want you to know that I am still new to editing. Very new. So bear with me. Bear with me as my skills grow as a YouTuber. Again, I'm so grateful that you're here. Please If you enjoyed it, like the video, like down below, subscribe to my channel, and then you will get notifications when my new videos come out. And let's talk about boundaries. In the comments below, tell me let's discuss it. What have you ever, and I posted this in the Toxic Unicorn, and I got a lot of feedback. Have you ever said yes when you meant no and gotten really angry at the person that you said yes to, when in reality, you were angry at yourself, but you were focusing on them? Okay. God bless. Remember, you're not alone. You are worthy. You are loved. This is C. Megan Michael from Breaking Free from Toxic People and Breaking Free from Narcissistic Abuse. Peace.